Watching the president in this civil case, both because of the merits of the case, it's a very important case in its own right, but also as a forecast of how he might behave in the coming criminal trials that could lie ahead this year. 4 are currently on the schedule. And I think his walking out and his other shenanigans during the trial, his loudly proclaiming that it's a con job, his shaking his head, his grimacing, which led the judge to chastise him several times, actually prove the malice. Now, if the jury is sympathetic, maybe some of these behaviors might fan those sympathies. But looking at the proof, at E. Jean Carroll's powerful testimony of how she was injured, at all of the evidence that came in, the greater likelihood is that the jury is going to tag Donald Trump with a very large damages number. And his walking out, the rudeness that represents, that these comments and grimaces will actually be used by the jury to say, gee, this is somebody who really does have malice. That's the test.
As Carol laid out, the judge is going to deliver instructions to the jury. There were multiple occasions during this entire case, and specifically yesterday, when the judge intervened to let the jury know, strike that, don't pay attention to that, disregard that in your deliberations. But at some point, if you're a human being and you're watching all of this unfold, even if you're told to disregard some of what you've seen, doesn't that play into your perception?
It certainly does. And it's impossible for jurors to erase something very striking, having often appeared before juries and talked to them afterwards. They do pick up on everything that happens. And of course, that's why we have multiple jurors. It's not just one person. It's 9 people who are watching, and then they go back and they trade notes. And I think one comment that Trump made that the judge ordered stricken will have some resonance with the jury. I don't think it'll be enough to help him with, but it's the comment where he said, I did it for myself, my family, and for the presidency. So what he's doing there is saying, I didn't act with malice. It wasn't with bad intent. I was defending myself. If there's one juror who is a Trump sympathizer, that line, despite being stricken, speaks to that person. It has a certain commonsensical resonance. I don't think it's going to be enough, but there is that risk of a juror going rogue. We call that jury nullification. It's a risk. I don't think we're going to get that here.
It is just hard to put the cat back in the bag, even if there is something that is stricken from the record there. Let's talk about the damages here, because you have Carroll's attorney saying, listen, if you really want deterrence, it has to be an unusually high punitive damages amount. Take us through what that could mean.
Damages are calculated in 2 categories. There's compensatory damages, and we've just seen a request to make Carroll whole. That's things like hiring a consultant and having a campaign to repair her reputation. The pain and suffering that she has endured. That's $24 million. Then, to send a lesson when a defendant is found to have acted with bad intent, malice, that he wanted to hurt E. Jean Carroll, you multiply that compensatory damages number by an X factor. The factor can be quite high. There is a limit. They couldn't order billions in damages. Normally, the upper ceiling is about 10 times compensatory. So you could be looking here, if there is a true home run, and the proof has come in powerfully, the argument has been strong, Trump wasn't allowed to speak, you could be looking at a multiple many times of $24 million, and that would send a message.
Certainly would. Yeah, it certainly would. Norm, thank you so much for that. We appreciate your insights.
We have a big update now from Georgia, another case concerning Donald Trump, the election interference case. The former president now joining the fight to dismiss Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis over misconduct allegations involving her lead prosecutor.